What's going on? It's Quinn David Furness. This is my show. Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast. After dark, Sunday night. Just barely squeezing it in before the weekend ends. What's a weekend anymore, though, you know? The only way I know that it's weekend and not the weekday is that I don't have the 9:30 a.m. Zoom meeting. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before. I tend not to talk about my job that much. But, man, we got every single day, Monday through Friday, a 9:30 a.m. Zoom meeting. So you come in, you crawl out of bed, get some coffee going, grind those beans every day. I have coffee at home every single day. I was on a one cup a week plan because I was, making my normal coffee at the office, and I would go out on Saturday mornings for breakfast. But now we're 7 days a week, hardcore. Make your coffee, just lazily list from the kitchen over to the couch. That's right. He used list as a verb. How impressive is that? That's a verb, right? List, lazily, L-I-S-T. Get a check on that. Plops himself on the couch, and he's talking about himself in the third person. You're probably saying, what on earth is he doing? Talking about yourself in the third person is a strange thing, but you know what would be really weird, and you don't see that often? Talking about yourself in the second person. You list lazily over to the couch. You grind your beans in the morning. Wouldn't I be a psycho if I talked like that? So I go over, we're back to the first person now. I tell you what the problem is, and I'll get back to the Zoom meeting in a second. The problem is I've been listening to this god-awful Scott Farrell audiobook that I happened to record myself, and I think I got about 90 minutes left in the story. Where I'm so close. I forgot. I need to upload the epilogue that I wrote and then recorded. I have the file on my computer. I just got to get it onto the playlist, the unlisted playlist for the Scott Farrell audiobook. I'm very close to finishing it, though, and it's kind of a bittersweet thing to finish listening back to it because recording it was obviously such a big thing. And now, trying to get all the files on the internet, each single time, each hit is really difficult. And then listening to it has been a whole other, going through the journey again. I tell you what, an emotional roller coaster, not so much as it pertains to the story, but just as I remember the pain that it inflicted upon me when recording. But to get to my original point, I switch, especially as you get later into the audiobook, I switch so much between just reading what's on the page and then talking not only to myself, but also about Scott and things he's saying. It gets very confusing. So I appreciate anyone who's gotten as far as I have, or perhaps even finished the audiobook, because it's tough to listen to. One, the writing's awful, but two, as you get towards the end, I really start to lose my freaking mind. But back to these Zoom meetings, that's the only thing that helps me keep track of time here. In prison cells, you do like a tally marker for every day or year, although you'd have to keep track in smaller amounts of time to be able to tell a year. And then you forget about leap years. Next thing you know, a million years down the line, you're off by multiple years because you forgot about Leap Day, February 29th in most Western cultures. But so these Zoom meetings serve a fun timekeeping purpose, I'd say. But beyond that, man, I tell you what, I'm getting really running out of gas here. It reminds me of the time I was driving to the state of Oregon with my brother Walt, #friend of the podcast. And it was late at night, and we were in, Wyoming or Colorado or something, in a very extremely rural area. And we cut it way too close with our gas. I feel like it was Wyoming, but I don't know, maybe that's not right. But Wyoming's not really a state where you want to take your chances with cutting it close with the gas, because it's not uncommon, even when you're driving on 90, the main interstate out there. It's not uncommon to pass an exit, and then you're not going to see another one for a solid half an hour. And you kind of hope. In fact, I think this happened to us where we pulled off at an exit, pull into this gas station. There's like not a single light at this entire exit, so it's just like pitch black out. And you get to the gas station, and it quickly becomes evident that this gas station stopped functioning about the days of Wild Bill Hickok and Billy the Kid and stuff. We did not run out of gas, but I tell you what, if you run out of gas in the middle of Wyoming, that's just it's not a fun place to be. But I don't know how we got to Wyoming. Oh, running out of gas with these Zoom meetings. Well, I pulled up my calendar on my phone. Let's see, because I think the Zoom meeting, because my birthday, March 16th, was like the last day in the office, my last day in the office. Quarantine started the day after that, and the Zoom meetings, I presumably started that week. We'll just count them as starting that week. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is about to be the start of week 10 of the daily Zoom meetings. So we're getting, up to about 50, our 50th meeting. I don't know, maybe we could have a big 50th meeting celebration. But and I'm not here to disparage, but I just, our norm when we were in the office and stuff was our weekly staff meeting, and that was perfect because that way you have enough time in between meetings where you can actually bring lots of relevant things to the table for discussion. Hour long, it worked out perfectly. Now we're at a point where, man, I'm just like, some days I have something to say, and then some days it's just like, it's not like I'm not doing work, but I don't have anything to report out. Like, I'm just doing my work. So I don't know, man. Struggling over here. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know. But yeah, hey, it's quarantine, and things are going okay. I will say this: the temperature increasing is helpful. It's beneficial for my mood, for my fragile emotional state. It's a nice, especially right now where we're at, any given day your temperature is going to fall somewhere between 50 degrees and about 65 or 70 degrees, give or take. That's great for running because you never have to worry about, is it going to be cold to the point of it being uncomfortable, for the first mile of my run, or is it going to be hot to the point of being uncomfortable? We haven't, we'll get there. Give it another, 3 to 4 weeks, and that's, where you start after telling yourself, okay, I got to either wake up early enough to go for a run or I got to wait till the sun goes down. This is the sweet spot right now, man. And I ran, about 14 and a half miles yesterday, unplanned, just like myself when I was an embryo, unplanned. But it went well. The thing this was interesting because this is not usually the case for me. When you're running, you got your kind of physical state, your physical health, and you got your mental/psychological state. And for the most part, I consider myself to be a pretty mentally tough person, at least when it comes to running. It's the physical, my body, that gives out first. Yesterday was the opposite, where my body actually, I was just kind of cruising. I very quickly, runners will know this feeling, settled into the just kind of going through the motions, don't have to think about anything, just cruising kind of feeling. And I keep excellent time in my head. I'm like George Michael in season 4 of Arrested Development. I don't run with nothing. My iPod and my keys. It's not even my iPod anymore. My iPod's dead. It's my MP3 player. My MP3 player and my keys. No, I don't do any of the phone. I'm not part of the Nike Fitness Club. I don't track my steps. I don't want, the government scanning my pedometer. After the whole Obama tapping scandal came out in, whatever that was, 2014, I just, Uncle Sam, you're going to have to find another way. Checkmate, Betsy Ross. But I felt good physically, and mentally it was kind of the opposite, where, when I was getting closer to the end of my run, and again, I didn't know how far I was going to be going, but I just kind of went out and started, and was just kind of, taking it one step at a time. But I just started to get bored is, I would say, the closest word I can use to, kind of capture how I was feeling. But I was just I don't know. And I would love some input from, very long distance runners, trail, ultra marathoners, whatever. Because the psychological aspect of it is not something I usually struggle with. And most of my runs, Monday through Thursday, I'm doing anything from 4.5 to 7 miles. It's just these longer runs on the weekends that, I don't know. I'm some days you go out and you're just excited to be out there and stretch your legs, and you're just having a good time the whole time. And then other days, like yesterday, I'm fortunate enough, I'm lucky that my legs felt great, and I didn't really have any chafing issues, no new blisters or anything. Super lucky, right? Knees were holding up. Didn't really have to worry about being sunburned because it was pretty hazy outside. But man, I was just as I got closer, I hit the 90 minutes and then 100 minutes, and I was just this is, I'm having a good time, but I don't know. It's so weird too, because there's nothing else going on. I finished that. I come home, talked to a friend of the podcast, Matt Fiedler, for an hour on the phone, caught up with him, had some big-time tax questions. Not in any trouble, don't worry. Just changing some situations here. So Obama doesn't tap me. Obama taxes, new scandal. But it's I didn't have anything else to do. Yet I'm still kind of bored on my runs. Maybe it's just the consequence of, having runs that last basically 2 hours. I don't know. 14 and a half though. I probably in my life haven't had that many runs longer than that. On my first round of marathon training, I probably ran further than that. Realistically, maybe 3 times. Maybe 4 times, including the actual marathon on my second round. I don't know if I ever topped 14 and a half. There was one time, this was right before the podcast started, because this would have been in October of 2017. When I was marathon training for the Marine Corps Marathon, and I was out in Pennsylvania at Valley Forge, which is one of my favorite places on earth. Beautiful. Just rolling green landscapes, great combination of forests, plains, rolling hills. The Schuylkill River runs right through it. History, Washington's headquarters. I went out for it was supposed to be my long run. I think it must have been, 2 weeks before the marathon. And I started too late. And it got dark. And again, this comes full circle. I don't run with anything, phone, nothing. This is a foreign land. This would have been a good podcast episode. I got lost. It got dark. It took me a really long time to find my car, and I was freaking out because, they got all the signs up in the parking lots that say gates close at dusk. We passed dusk, and, another couple of days passed before I finally found the car. But the gates were still up. I was lucky, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe Valley Forge is just slacking on their enforcement of policies. Who knows? Either way, I got lucky. Got off scot-free. What's the origin of that phrase, scot-free? Scotch-free? It's scot-free, right? Let's turn to the big board. I just say that to reference going to my second laptop. We got a 2-laptop setup going here. I feel like a real podcaster. Scot-free without suffering any punishment or injury. I'm well aware of that. Oh, here's phrases.org. Scot-free meaning and origin. Dred Scott. Wow, it's American. I could have sworn it was going to be Scottish. Dred Scott was a black slave born in Virginia, USA in 1799. Oh, I'm not going to read this whole thing. The etymology of this phrase shows the danger of trying to prove a case on circumstantial evidence alone. In fact, the phrase isn't scot-free, it is scot-free and has nothing to do with Mr. Scott. Well, what? Okay. Backtrack. Many people, especially in the USA, are convinced that the phrase originated with the story of Dred Scott. Boy, this is quite an interesting story. Well, I think we might just read this whole thing. Bear with us. If you're just joining us, if you happen to click play on your podcast app and jump to minute 16 and you're thinking, I would really love the full story on the origins of the phrase scot-free. Well, you've come to the right podcast. And I should mention that listener discretion is advised when you're listening to this podcast. Number one, we'll occasionally use some foul language. Number two, the podcast is objectively terrible. But speaking of language, we're really digging into the language here. Origins of scot-free. This is according to phrases.org.uk. Given the reputation of Scotsmen as being careful with their money, that's not a reputation that anyone told me about. We might look to Scotland for the origin of scot-free. Wrong again. What? I feel like I'm getting gaslighted by this website, It's like, it's going to be this. No, boom, it's not. Okay, it's going to be this one. Boom. No, it's not. Like, can we get a straight answer out of phrases.org.uk? Because right now you're making a very powerful enemy, my friends. Wrong again, but at least we are in the right part of the world now. Okay, I swear to God, if you give me another goose in the gander here, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Scat, S-K-A-T, isn't that the name of the, who's the thing that, in an Ice Age? Is it Scat, the little, what is he? He's like a saber-toothed squirrel? Ice Age. Now, there's a franchise that I feel like just kind of was a pretty big deal when they were making movies. And I reckon they made, 4 of them? Does 4 sound right? It was kind of a big thing when they were coming out. In fact, I saw one of them in theaters with my siblings. But I feel like in 2020, they just no one cares about them anymore. It's interesting. They were popular, but I don't feel like from a pop culture perspective they've really hung around in the same way that other animated franchises of the same era have, and I'm namely thinking of Shrek. I guess I can't think of that many other animated franchises, although I'm sure they're out there. But that I mean Ice Age has got there's a killer cast, especially from when the original movie came out, which was I'm gonna guess 03 or something, but I'll look at it. I'm gonna Ray Romano and Dennis Leary, right? Plays the tiger, and John however you say his name, Leguizamo plays the sloth. And isn't Queen Latifah, isn't she in the sequel or something? Okay, Ice Age 2002. Wow, that's so early, right? It doesn't Ice Age. Ice Age very much feels like a 2000s thing, but doesn't it feel more 3, 4, 5? 2 is so early. There's 5. Ice Age, The Meltdown, which I think is the most recent one I saw. It came out in 2006. Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Ice Age, Continental Drift, Ice Age, Collision Course, which most recently came out 5 years ago. Was did the whole cast appear in all of them? Let's see. Yeah. Wow, Ray Romano, John Leguizamo, Dennis Leary, and Chris Wedge. Oh, Scrat. Scrat is the name of this little thing I'm thinking of. And then Queen Latifah, Josh Peck, Simon Pegg was in the most recent 3. Wanda Sykes was in the last 2. J-Lo is in the last 2. Know what I'm watching tonight. Wow. There's so much here. Jack Black was in the original. How did I not know this? Cedric the Entertainer. Jay Leno. Wow. Good cast. Going back here to phrases.org.uk. Scat. S-K-A-T, which is what led to our last 3.5 minutes of show here, is a Scandinavian word. Oh, the motherland. I was going to try to do a Norwegian accent, but I can't because I don't know what Norwegians sound like other than this one. Scandinavian word for tax or payment, and the word migrated to Britain and mutated into Scot, S-C-O-T. Well, that's a little bit of a leap, don't you think? Phrases.org.uk as the name of a redistributive. Is there another way to say that? Redistributive taxation. Redistributive. R-E-D-I-S-T-R-I-B-U-T-I-V-E. 21-letter word. Levied as early as the 10th century as a form of municipal poor relief. Scot, as a term for tax, has been used since then in various forms. Church Scot, Rome Scot, Soul Scot, and so on. Soul Scot sounds like it had to have been a James Brown B-side at some point, but we'll research that. Whatever the tax, the phrase getting off scot-free simply refers to not paying one's taxes. Wow, we should have brought in a friend of the podcast, Matt Fiedler, for this episode. We could have talked about the origins of the phrase scot-free. Wow. There's a little bit more here, but I'm not going to read it because I think we've gotten to the bottom for the most part. So to summarize, what did we learn? It's not Dred Scott. It's not from Scotland. It's from Scandinavia, from the term scat, which is similar sounding to Scrat, one of the main characters in the Ice Age franchise. Wow, that was a lot. I had fun, though. I hope you did, too. Boy, what did we do to get all the way into this wormhole? I don't know. I was talking about running, though, and one thing I wanted to mention is I feel like when people the last 2 months, spent their time staying inside, they completely forgot how to do sidewalk awareness because it's been rough, man. And I'm not just talking about, on my runs. That I feel like I have a lot more tolerance when I'm on my runs for people with bad sidewalk awareness because I'm coming in fast. I'm like a bullet, like a jet. So I don't mind it as much. If I gotta do some bobbing and weaving, just foreshadowing. We'll get to in a second here. I understand it. I get it. Because I'm moving and grooving. And I'm pretty quiet when I run, especially when I get into the zone. My breathing slows way down. My heart rate's going at like 37 beats per minute. I get it. But what really kind of chaps my quarters is when you're just, sashaying down the sidewalk and you're coming opposite directions on a couple or just two people or whatever, and they're just, what I really like is not only when you got the two people going side by side taking up the majority of the sidewalk, but now with social distancing, some people are not only doing the side by side, but they're doing side by side with social distancing. So whereas before they were taking up most of the sidewalk, now they're taking up all of the sidewalk. And I swear, and I've had to do this, and I've seen other people in this situation, like on the other side of the street, have to do this, where you just you do what you're not supposed to do. You just cut them down the middle, and you walk in the middle of them, between them as you're passing. which is obviously not what you're supposed to do for social distancing, but it's like, hey, if you're not going to get up or get out of the way, I mean, what do you expect? It's really just, if you're going to be walking, I won't spend too much time on sidewalk awareness because I talk about it frequently, but if you're going to go out on the sidewalks doing the 2x2 Noah style, and not the great Russell Crowe film that was robbed of all those Oscar nominations. We're talking OG biblical. You gotta have good sidewalk awareness. You gotta use your ears, listen, okay? Know when people are coming behind you. When you see people coming at you, be polite, move, okay? The other last thing I'll say here, and then we're going to read some ads, and then I actually thought of something kind of interesting that I think you're going to enjoy in the second half here because it's creative and it involves my piano. Bikers on the sidewalk, especially on like Sheridan, and people who live up in Rogers Park know this. Like, don't cross your bikes with Sheridan. It's unnecessary. That's what the neighborhood streets are for. Sheridan's not a good place to bike because it's 4 lanes and there's no room for bikes there. And the sidewalks are super crowded because it's right on the lake. It's a huge thoroughfare for pedestrians. And there are signs all over Sheridan that say, if you're over 12 years old, you have to ride your bikes on the street. But people don't give a flying F. Like, the amount of bikes on the the Sheridan sidewalks is too damn high. Okay? Just stop it. Okay? Stop it.
Stop it, D-Rose. Stop it, D-Rose. Stop it, D-Rose. Stop it, D-Rose. Stop it, D-Rose.
Okay? That's how I feel about it. All right? You didn't think I was going to come back to the Stacey King soundboard, did you? I did not anticipate doing that, but it just kind of seemed like it would fit in good for the end of this story. And as you can tell, as I'm vamping here, I'm checking the soundboards just to see if there are any other fun ones that I want to use. Okay? Oh, okay. The reason I pulled it up is because I said a phrase, I think get out of the way or something. And I wanted to use, because I knew there was a good clip for it, but I didn't know if it was on the soundboard. But I found it. Okay, so I'm going to play it, then we're going to read some ads, and then I've got a fun thing for the second half.
Either get up or get out the way.
Unfortunately, it's not he's got a much better one, a much better get up or get out of the way. I don't know if it's on this soundboard, but anyways, all right. And it has actually been pouring rain all day. I went out for my Sunday stroll, if you will. It was a short one this week because I had just a little bit of a window, like a 90-minute window, to do it between finishing up some stuff at the house and then NASCAR, which started at 2:30. NASCAR's back, baby. And it's a whole other story because Jimmy was literally leading the race on the last lap of stage 1, and he got bumped by a lap car. Like, of all the shitty ways that Jimmy's been just unluckily screwed the last 3-ish years, it's not like having a solid day, maybe go for a top 5, top 10 finish. He's literally in front. The leading car, and he gets wrecked. Not even by the second place car, by like the 38th place car. Man, it's frustrating. So then, it's like you watch the last, the rest of the race, the last 3 hours of the race, and it's still fun because you get live sports finally. But that's a tough thing about NASCAR. When your driver, gets wrecked in the first stage, it's like, what do we do now? You watch because it's quarantine and it's better than watching Netflix for the zillionth time. All right. Let's read our ads here. And then inspiration for just a kind of crazy out there idea struck, but we're going to crowdsource it a little bit because I would love some input from the fans. And we're going to talk in our second half about how you can get involved with it. It's a good idea, I think. It's really fun. Okay? I'm really looking forward to this. New project. The audiobook's done. New project. And this is something that I think we could really go places with this, okay? Home Pride Oregon, though. Let's read some ads first. Are you tired of selling your house for less than a quarter of what it's worth, all because you couldn't find a reliable home inspector in time? Well, Oregon listeners, I got good news for you. Home Pride Inspection Services in Bend, Oregon is Central Oregon's hottest new home inspection provider with inspection services, including things like heating and cooling, roofing, plumbing, and so much more. Home Pride Oregon is both contractor certified and home inspection certified, so you know you're getting the good stuff. If you're tired of big real estate hold on the home inspection market and you want a safe, certified home inspector that you can trust, you have to call Steve at 541-410-0316, or you can visit homeprideoregon.com. Again, it's 541-410-0316, or you could just visit homeprideoregon.com. Home Pride Oregon inspection perfection. I want to give a shout out to the Samson Q2U series. This baby's about 2.5 years old at this point, and still going strong. Still works great. Some of the hardware is kind of fallen off a little bit, but in terms of the crisp, clear audio quality, for the price, I think I paid like $50 for this microphone. And I look great holding it too. I mean, I should, who I really need to reach out to? Maybe I should, stop my daily, email message to Jack Links and shift my focus to Samson. See if they want to do modeling. Well, I don't know what their marketing and advertising budget is like specifically under, Corona circumstances. But all I'm saying is, December 2019 247-pound Quinn might not have had the image self-confidence to put himself out there, but May 2020 191-pound Quinn, he's going for the big fish. It's not even Friday fish fry yet. So, something to keep in mind. Samson, I got an email coming your way, and maybe some tweets as well. Please don't block me. When God speaks, he uses a Samson. Also, man, that's just a great line. And I'm not one to toot my own horn too frequently. But, man, that coming out of that just out of the blue, that's solid. That is some solid work, I tell you what. Last thing here, and I don't know how much longer this company is going to last because we haven't made a sale in months, much less years. Cuts by Q, Bob and Weave, but at least it's got a fun ad read and an even more fun song. We all know the hairstyle and we all love it, but how many Chicago-based independent barbers can actually give it to you the way you deserve? Enter Cuts by Q. It's like Enter Sandman, but different. Cuts by Q has been independently owned and operated since 1995 and is probably one of the better barbershop operations serving Chicago, Cook County, the greater Chicagoland area, including Northwest Indiana. From beehives to bangs, faux hawks to flat tops and everything in between, you have to call Cuts by Q at 815-298-7200, or you can email cutsbyq@yahoo.com. Again, that is Qutz by Q@yahoo.com. All right, turn it up and sing it loud and clear with us like the 7th inning stretch, but just a little bit better. Oh, when you need a fresh do, something snappy and new, just call the experts at Cuts by Q. And you really should call them because we're getting a little lonely over here. All right. Welcome to part 2 of our program here. Did a little switch, and I got us closer to the piano here. And I'll tell you why. So I won't waste time. I'll jump right into it. for part 2 here because it's late. It's 8:00 p.m. and I still haven't eaten supper. I was struck by inspiration in the shower because I was listening to just a YouTube mix. I mean, I don't know where their algorithm's going. You don't know if you're going to get Death Cab for Cutie or Devil Driver. If you don't know Devil Driver, check him out. You're going to keep the volume low at first and kind of ease into it. The devil's son is just big on. I can't do screamo. I had a friend in high school, Scott Guthrie, who was just like a very innocent, laid back, kind of nerdy, mild mannered kid who also happened to be just like super into screamo and would sing it too. I heard him do it a couple of times. That just freaked me the F out. But I had a Will Smith credits song come up on my YouTube playlist for Wild Wild West, starring Kevin Kline and Will Smith. And it got me thinking, Beantown, we do a lot of music. We got an intro song, we got an outro song, we do a Happy Mother's Day song, Happy Father's Day song, every year, which is... It's coming up in like 4 episodes. I got to write that. Although, to be fair to myself, I don't typically write that until the morning of. I'm a very spontaneous kind of person in regards to these things. But what I'm trying to say here is I think it would be kind of cool if we had a little it doesn't even need to so much be a Beantown Podcast theme song. I'm just thinking like a Beantown Podcast post-credits, or not even post-credits, actual credits song. And it has nothing to do with, Tishmingo Blues. I love it. But it's just like maybe a fun project. So issue number 1 is that, of course, it's got to be a cool rap. Well, not only am I a bad songwriter, but I've never tried to write a rap in my life. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to lay some groundwork here live on the show. Because when I was in the shower, I was kind of running through some things in my head. And thankfully, I have the music kind of experience and background to be able to create and write in my head without needing to be at a piano per se. But now I am at the piano, so it's going to be even better. But I have some ideas floating in my head for kind of what I want to do. But I'm thinking for writing some lyrics, some words for the verses. Let's crowdsource it a little bit. Let's see what kind of suggestions we get from the fans. It doesn't have to be a complete coherent, stave. But if you got any Beantown related stories, concepts, memories, people, friends, characters, whomever that you think we want to include in the rap, cause I got my own ideas, but we're 125-ish episodes in here. There's a lot of things that I've probably forgotten about that might be near and dear to your heart. So go ahead and spend some time this week thinking about, what do you want to throw into a rap? Because we're gonna put it together. We're gonna do some. Now that I got this piano, I feel liberated. We're gonna do some great recording. I'm gonna mix it. We're gonna drop some beats, and I'll give you a little taste of sort of what's in my head right now. I actually maybe play around with some of the sounds here, see what we can get. But then I'll throw together some verses, and we'll have a Beantown Podcast credits song, which would be a fun kind of summer project. So again, email us, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. Again, that's Beantown, Beantown podcast @yahoo.com, and we'll collect those. You can also tweet at us. We're at BeantownCast. I'm personally at White Buns with a Z. You can find us on Instagram, Stitcher, SoundCloud, whatever. Wherever you want to submit those ideas, just DM me, okay? Slide into those DMs. Sounds like something. Slide into your DMs sounds like the kind of phrase that your grandma would use without understanding what it means. So consider me your grandma. Welcome to Quinn's dining room, where ooh, that's good. Don't need the F in there. We're just going. We're going a little rogue here. We're going into sandbox mode. What kind of sound am I looking for here? That's a little bit better. What are we getting with these electric pianos? No, it's not going to work. No, it's a little too Stevie Wonder. Organ's not going to work for this. String's not going to work. What might be interesting, here's the vibraphone. It's not awful, but it's not quite what I want. What I'm thinking here is maybe making a baby here out of the harpsichord. Which one do I want? If I combine that harpsichord with the grand piano, how do we feel about this? What if you bring it up a little bit? It'll add a little bit of a kind of a bell chime kind of feel to it. Oh, okay. That's a start. We're cooking with gas. How does it sound in the lower register? This is the great thing about being able to just like mess around and play with stuff in your head, because I came in with a concept that I had just come up with in the shower, and I was pretty sure I had it the way I wanted to, and then when I actually tried it out on the piano, it was exactly what I wanted, which is a great feeling. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? Let's do a little demo here. We're going to keep this simple because this kind of thing that we're trying to write is a simple, very simple concept. Just super straightforward chorus, some fun lyrics. Maybe we could pay off, Will Smith's barber or something to throw down the verses for us, which we'll write together as a team. I don't know. I don't know how the audio quality is, with how I'm going to be positioning the microphone here, but it doesn't need to be great. I trust you're going to get the backbone of the experience. Let's throw something down here. Let's just spend a few minutes just kind of getting into the groove. I'll show you what I'm feeling, and that will help inspire you as you're coming up with some verses that you want to share. Let's see how this goes. Let me set the microphone over here. And we'll just hope that sounds fine. Whatever. Here we go. The Beantown Podcast. QD presents. QD presents. QD presents. The Beantown Podcast. QD presents. QD presents. QD presents. The Beantown Podcast. QD presents. QD presents. QD presents. The Beantown Podcast. QD presents. So you kind of get a feel of what I'm going for. And it's just a simple And that's probably all we have to do the whole song. I don't think it's the type of, don't overthink it. I don't think we need more than those 4 chords. What do you guys think? Huh? If you're feeling like, I could jam to this for 3.5 minutes, write some stuff down, send it our way. Maybe I'll make a rap about it. I think we're on to something here. I think we got something there. Lightning in a bottle. Keep it simple. Start from a kernacular perspective, as in a corn kernel, and just let it grow. Huh? It's an idea. It's something to chew on, okay? We got time. There's no deadline on this, which is great. Okay? That's about all I got for you. Oops. We're having fun. I'm on my way to set me free, home sweet home. That was a wrong vocal key. Yikes. There's a song that you don't kind of hear in mainstream media that much, but it's a great song and totally like against type for the crew. Is it just called Home Sweet Home? Motley Crue. I'm gonna have to listen to that now. I don't think I've physically heard that song in years. Great song. Okay, that's what I got for you. And since I'm here, rather than trying to just pick up the audio file from the computer and merge it, I'll just play some Tishomingo for you live. We did that a couple weeks ago. And I'm not going to try anything fancy, and I hope the audio quality turns out. But that's what I have for you, so thanks for tuning in. You know how to contact us if you want to submit some rap lyrics, and I'll try to put them together. But, another week in quarantine, temperature's increasing, we got this. And, next week is Memorial Day weekend. It feels really strange. Not only because it's early, but just because it's like 3-day weekend. What are you going to do? Nothing. Nothing at all. Like, I tell you what, man. Last thing I'll say. The temptation is so strong to just bop down to Enterprise, grab a car for 3-4 days. But the issue is like, but then what? Like, where would I go? I don't even know. Like, there's nothing I want to do. All the fun things are closed. Welcome to quarantine, Quinn. You're just now having these realizations 10 weeks in. I'm not. It's just depressing because you're going to have a 3-day weekend. Just what I will probably do, maybe we'll talk about this next week, but I'll probably just like try to eat some like summer things, maybe get some brats and a guilt-free cheesecake recipe just to try to feel like I'm doing something. That's always my answer. Eat. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Quinn David Furness. This is my show. Year 3 of Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast. And who knows, pretty soon we're going to have a killer rap coming. Grammys, here we come. Stay safe, stay sane. Let me get the mic set up here. And we'll check in on you next week. Sorry. I'm losing it. I need some dinner. Maybe I'll have a Hot Pocket or something. I don't know. Possibilities are endless on a Sunday night. That's what I say. Fishes and loaves, man.